Ask your doctor if Awesemo is right for you.
Yes, sir. Ew, what's going on, everybody? Dave Loughran here. It's the NBA Strategy Show presented by No House Advantage, filling in for the ailing Adam Scher, but joined by Josh Engleman at Josh Engleman. For those of you podcast listeners, you follow me at Loughy _D, LOUGHY_D. 9-game Wednesday slate. 2 shows in a week for us, huh, man?
I know, it's nice. It's good to be back. The people should be pretty happy. Unfortunately, we got to be out at 11.
Yeah, it won't be that way forever, though.
No, it won't. Thank God.
What do they even have going on at 11? I know we have like Pro Bowl content this week, just a ton of crazy stuff going on.
I actually have no idea. I didn't look at the one-stop shop because I didn't have to produce the show.
Yeah,
so I don't even know if we have to be out at 11.
There isn't an 11 a.m. show, but
That's helpful.
We'll aim for it. We'll aim.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, that jock market show at 1 o'clock is looking tenuous.
Yeah. Right. We're tentatively at 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
Might need to push that. But you already did the process show today, so you're good, ready to go. 6:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. Hang out with Josh. I wonder if anybody on the West Coast does that. I bet you got like some overnighters that are in on that all the time on the West Coast.
I get a couple West Coast people. I had someone from some other country today that it was like 6 o'clock at night for them. So I get that from time to time too. It's primarily an East Coast show though. That's for sure.
Tom Spalding, you guys had to check out 1883. I'm gonna, man. You're a Yellowstone guy, right?
Yeah, I haven't started watching that one, or I don't know if the Sixes is out yet. But I haven't watched 1883 yet, but it is definitely on the short list.
I got to get Paramount Plus still. I almost don't want to do it out of principle that every one of these channels is now telling you like, get our Plus and get access to these shows. You know what I mean? Like with Paramount, you already have to add it. I know a lot of people around my way that don't even have Paramount with their cable subscription. So, you know,
I have Paramount Plus because of soccer. So
okay.
I'm in by default.
Well,
let me know if you need anything
Kingstown looks good too, or whatever it's called, right?
Yeah, it's Jeremy Renner, right?
I'm a big Jeremy Renner fan.
Big not Jeremy Renner fan, but I'm willing to watch the show.
You don't like that he was in bed with his wife shooting his gun into the ceiling?
I don't like that he did a Bourne movie.
A what?
He did one of the Bourne movies.
I think he did porn. Well,
I'd be more likely to watch that than his Bourne movie.
Wind River, though, phenomenal movie.
Okay.
The Hurt Locker, phenomenal movie. He's done some good stuff. Anyway, 9 games, man. Got some interesting ones too. I mean, anytime right now the Pacers are on the slate and you're down Brogdon and you're down Sabonis, there's a team that just gives up an absurd amount of points every night. Like there's going to be some decent fantasy value throughout this slate. Is there good value right now, given that it's still early in the morning?
There actually is for the first time in a while. It might not be like all the way at the ass end of salary, but in the fours, there's a lot of value. In the low fives, there's a lot of value. We're not digging out a bunch of like 3K guys yet. I think that's potentially viable. There's not a lot of questionable guys on the slate so far for today, but we're not going to have any issue finding additional salary.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And our ownership's posted. We've got all of that stuff up. So you get a decent idea of what we're working with out of the gate. Let's dive into it, fella.
All right, let's do it.
Let's make it happen. And of course, you got the deeper dive tonight. You got who's on that? Are you on that?
No, nothing for me tonight. Deeper dive tonight is Eric and Rinpack, and then Greg and Terry on Live Before Lock.
Yep, taking you all the way up to that. And PGA Live Before Lock, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So lot of stuff coming down the pike. Hang out with us throughout the day. You've got Orlando and Indiana, 223.5 total. There should be a decent amount of points here. The Pacers are what, 5-point dog or 5-point favorites at home, despite being down like most of their starters again. Yeah. But defensively, over the last month, dude, they have a 118.5 defensive rating. and then they just lose more players. Even losing like a Goga Batadze is significant. This defense is bad, Josh. So I guess the first question is, can we exploit that with some of these Orlando players?
Yeah, the problem is we're just kind of getting used to Orlando. They've had the same sort of guys in for a regular stretch now. Their salaries have stabilized. So Cole Anthony continues to look solid across both sites. He's the guy pulling the most ownership in the aggregate, 25% owned on DraftKings right now. Oh, sorry, that's actually Wendell Carter Jr. 14% for Cole Anthony, 12% on FanDuel. Like he's like a 26% usage guy. He's around league average efficiency, 29% assist rate, like a 10% rebounding rate. He's just, a guy with a little bit of upside. He looks good, not great. That's sort of how I feel about this entire game. Wendell Carter looks good, not great. 25% ownership feels like a lot, but at the same time, he does have power forward eligibility on DraftKings at that 6,200 number. I like him. I don't necessarily like him at the 25% number, but we're talking about a guy that's probably pretty close. Like I got him for a double-double right out of the gate, 14 points, 12 boards. So it's not as if I think he's going to have a bad day. I think you're just going to need, you might need a little bit more than that on a day like today. Whether you get to Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, or even Gary Harris to a lesser extent, I think it's all fine because they have a pretty cut and dry rotation. That Wagner, Suggs, Anthony, Carter, Harris group, as long as it's a competitive game, they're playing like 32 to 34 minutes, which really limits what else you can do for Orlando.
For sure. And you make a good point, though. With a lot of these guys, especially given that a lot of other teams do have key players out and salaries haven't stabilized, there's not a ton of meat left on the bone for a decent amount of these Orlando Magic players.
No, like the most that I've got anybody in a lineup coming out of the sim is 14% Cole Anthony on DK. That's exactly where his ownership is. I don't really have any disagreements. They're guys you could use, but there aren't any guys where you're like, okay, this is going to be a priority piece of my lineups, not on a 9-gamer.
So I've been a sucker when it comes to Caris LeVert lately. I mean, admittedly, he's not that great of a player. LeVert's not bad, but he's not fantastic. But I like 76 on FanDuel, even 82 on DraftKings. I'm not looking at him as a key option today, but I just want to keep going back to him. He's going to play if the game's competitive, 35 to 38 minutes probably. 32% assist rate without Brogdon and Sabonis on the floor. There's just nobody else. I mean, when you look at the other options on this team, right? I don't know if Brissett's going to play, but you're talking about Duarte, you're talking about Craig, you're talking about Justin Holiday. Eventually, we're going to see one of those big Caris LeVert games, and I feel like I'm too invested to just bucket now.
I hate talking about him because I've been talking about him all year, and I feel like I don't ever get him right. But I'm going right back to him.
But you can't
again.
stop now. That's what I'm saying.
It's not a bad spot. Got him in for 29% usage, 34% assist rate. We're talking about another guy that's around league average efficiency. He's shooting guard, small forward eligible on FanDuel. He's pulling 27% ownership on FanDuel, and I think that's completely reasonable. He's 8,200 on DraftKings, but he's point guard, shooting guard there, about 15% owned. He came out of my Sims at 15%. So yeah, I mean, I see Caris LeVert as the clear 1A and 1B today for Indiana, and he is part of that. Isaiah Jackson would be the other guy that I think you need to prioritize today. Prices come up since their last game, and I think this is I think Isaiah Jackson works whether O'Shea Brissett plays or not, just because they're out Brogdon. Well, they're out Sabonis, they're out Turner, they're out Goga Batadze. They just don't have any other big bodies. So 28 minutes of Isaiah Jackson, somewhere around 22% usage, not really getting much from an assist rate perspective, rebounding rate around 16%. Pretty good for some steals and blocks, but he's 20% owned on FanDuel, 20% owned on DK, and I totally agree with it. One of my favorite plays of the day, top 5 guy in the contenders today as well.
Love it. I mean, you can't really, and by the way, Isaiah Jackson's $18 on Yahoo, which is just really nice. You can't stress enough how valuable backup centers are if they're already good enough per minute producers. Backup centers getting starts, I mean, obviously.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously Isaiah Jackson was a significantly better play on Monday before they bumped the salary up. But if he's starting again at center, 5,400 with the power forward eligibility on DK is still not a big enough price tag. We're talking about a guy that I have in as like a 1.3 fantasy point per minute guy here today. If he's getting starter run, I love it. I don't think it matters. I think it's just a team inundated with guards. I have Brissett in for right now. I gave him 24 minutes. They've been loath to give him additional time. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Like if Brissett starts, I would bump that 24 up to probably like 28 or something. He's 3,800 on FanDuel, just small forward eligible. So even we only have him at 4% ownership on FanDuel. You know, the Q tag is changing it. 4% owned on FanDuel, 1 on DK. I think he's more like a 10% guy. So whether it's FanDuel or DK, if O'Shea Brissett is in, I like him as a value play, whether he's in the starting lineup or not.
If he's out, would you take some shots on a Terry Taylor and hope he gets 20 plus minutes here?
Probably not with any sort of volume. Like I got him in for 14. If we take Brissett out and I get him to 20, look, like 20 minutes of Terry Taylor at 3,500 power forward center. I mean, there is some value there. I just think that we're going to have better options as we get a little bit closer to lock. I think his ceiling, even in that time, isn't necessarily going to be high enough for you, given the amount of value I'm expecting us to see throughout this day.
We had Christian say Levert's like a shitty drug because you're right. You keep buying it because the price seems reasonable and you just never get high. And you're hoping one day that it's going to be decent. You know,
them WMDs.
Yeah, you're just hoping. All right, today it'll be better, but you keep coming back. Abel Ramos with a question and a super chat. Loughy and Josh, what determines a good matchup? I overlooked Giannis thinking blowout and the Bucks having good defenders, but the Wiz kept it close. Dude, that's the thing with blowouts, though. A game can result in a blowout, but it's close until there's 8 minutes left in the game. I mean, there's just so many ways, or there's just too many variables to look at a blowout or look at a game and assume that it can't stay close. And plus, Josh, Giannis could have played 30 minutes in a blowout and be one of the sole reasons that they blew their opponent out. I
mean, there was a point yesterday. Let me find it right now. I was talking to Adam, talking about how I played a ton of Giannis. And I said at 7:55, I said, glad I played a ton of Giannis. He hasn't taken a shot yet. And the Bucks have taken 17 shots. So I was already regretting Giannis. He then went on to have an absolutely massive game. That's an hour after their tip. Had a massive game. Essential play for yesterday. So the swings happen, but the key piece here is that I don't want to say that matchup is irrelevant because that would be underselling the actual truth here, but it's already baked into the projection. It's not something that I'm worried about. Once the projection is made, I don't really care about the matchup any longer.
For sure. And hey, thanks for being with us. Hit that thumbs up if you guys haven't done so yet. We got 300 plus watching. I know that number will continue to climb throughout the day. That's kind of what happens with the strategy show, right? It just continues to climb. More people start waking up. So hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel too. Help us get to, I don't know, Josh, 100,000 subs.
I mean, it's going to happen soon enough, right?
Silver play button. That'd be pretty sweet.
I feel like I deserve some of that play button. Can they portion it up a little bit somehow?
I was going to say,
can I get it for a month or something?
And hang it on the OG's wall. I mean, you've been here before I have, but
we're talking 6 months. It felt like I was here forever before you guys got here. And now there's barely the distinction.
Exactly. But yeah, appreciate all you guys that just jump in and immediately hit the thumbs up and are already subscribed. But if you haven't done so yet, you know what to do. Yeah. All right. And if you want to join, hit the join down below. You get the free super chats each month, custom emojis, the sweet badges. We're about coming up on those year badges. And then we'll always prioritize questions and comments from you guys along with our premium Discord members. All right, Washington, Philadelphia. What are we doing with the Wizards? 10.5 point dogs, 217 total. You got Embiid on fresh legs on the other side of this one after getting that planned rest day. But the big thing here is that Bradley Beal remains out for at least a little bit of time here.
I hope everybody's excited to go straight back to Spencer Dinwiddie again. 31.5 minutes yesterday, 28.8 DK points. He was probably the biggest bust of the day for anybody that people were looking at. Surprise, surprise, though. You got to go straight back to him. He's just a different guy when Bradley Beal's not around. 26% usage, 37% assist rate this season without him, 1.1 fantasy points per minute. He's already 20 to 25% owned, and it's fully warranted. To me, he's one of the 5 best plays of the day on every site.
I mean, he's 5,900 on FanDuel. He's $5,800 on DraftKings. Getting away from Dinwiddie in a spot like this is the classic overthink, paralysis by overanalysis, right?
You have to ignore yesterday.
You have to. How many minutes are you giving him? 32?
I gave him 33. He's
Okay.
actually been playing slightly more than that in games without Beal, but 33 feels like a reasonable number to land on. I think he looks fantastic.
And let's not ignore the fact either. 7 rebounds, 9 assists. The peripherals were there. The assist opportunities were there. He just had, relatively low shot volume and didn't make his shots. But Sixers defense, man, they're not very good. And unless you got like Matisse Thybulle out there. I'm not saying they're not good, but they give up big games frequently. So I have to go back to Dinwiddie, whether you like to or not. Do you want any of these cheap options like Harrell or Gafford or anybody, or even a Kyle Kuzma at a higher price?
Yeah, so it looks like Thomas Bryant rolled his ankle at the end of last night's game. So I think we might actually see just a straight 48-minute split, potentially a 48-minute split between Gafford and Harrell. Harrell's pulling some ownership at 4,400. The guy that I'd be interested in taking a flyer on would be Daniel Gafford at 3,100. Wouldn't surprise me if he started here. I think that's what they would want to happen. And I think that Gafford fits a little bit better on the opposite side of Embiid than Harrell does. So if we see Gafford get the start, I think 20 minutes is sort of the floor, maybe upwards of 26 minutes is a ceiling here if it's going well. He's 3,100. If you think that Daniel Gafford can play 26 minutes today, he's probably the best play on the slate. Even at 20 minutes, I think he's viable. Anything in between, you still want to get there. Ownership is already coming in. We have the same ownership on Harrell as we do on Gafford. I prefer Gafford to Harrell in that instance. I think this might change a little bit, though, as the day moves on and we get a little bit of extra word on Thomas Bryant.
What about Joel Embiid? Tonight's slate, high-priced players, Jokic, Embiid, Luka, Harden, LeBron, who he's unlikely to play, so I would just cross him out of this from the jump. Tatum, John Morant's been phenomenal. I mean, you got a lot of guys on a 9-gamer. Where does Embiid sit for you now that his price continues to rise?
On DraftKings, not all that high. I don't really love the idea of spending 12,000 on him today. Just feels a little aggressive. So like where I have Embiid, I had Embiid come out of my sim, which could be low at 4%. I have like 10 centers that I would rather get to, whether it's Isaiah Jackson from a value perspective, Holmes. I like Anthony Davis a lot. We're not going to have Gobert, so Whiteside's available. We're not even talking about guys like Jared Allen, Robert Williams, Mobley, Wendell Carter, Jokic. I would rather have Jokic than I would rather have Embiid today. So today is a really difficult day for me to want to get to Joel Embiid on DraftKings. Little bit more viable on FanDuel at 10-9, where he's already pulling 18% ownership. But I'm kind of down on Embiid today. They're slowly getting guys back as well. Seth Curry is now in the lineup again. It's not for me. And that's somebody that I've got Embiid at 1.6 FanDuel points per minute. It just so happens there's just so many different center options. I don't see it today.
I get it. Look, the price is extraordinarily high. What's he on FanDuel? 10-9?
Yep.
Yeah. Anybody else you even like from Philly?
No priorities. Maxey, Harris, Seth Curry. These guys are going to play 34 minutes or more. I've got Maxey in for 38 minutes, but these guys are all like 10%ers. To me, nobody from Philly is a core piece of my lineups, and ownership bears that out as well.
All right, let's talk Charlotte and Boston then. We'll spend the most time on the games that are the teams specifically that we like the most. I think that's the most helpful. Plus, early in the day, we're just breaking down scenarios too on what could happen. But like you said, there's not a ton of questions. A lot of players we already know to be out, which is nice.
Yeah, we had a very small amount of news that I had to deal with through the process show today.
LaMelo, Rozier, Cody Martin, Gordon Hayward's already out for this one, as we anticipated. 4.5-point dogs against the Boston Celtics, who have definitely seen an improvement defensively over the last 1+ months. 223-point total. Is this another one where a lot of Charlotte is viable, but more so secondary?
Yeah, and they're a little bit more interesting on FanDuel too, just better prices. We're getting Kelly Oubre back in this one. I mean, this is a team that runs like they're sort of like Toronto in that they run just such a massively tight rotation, not as extreme as only playing 5 guys for the majority of the game, but it's close. So I like Bridges the most in this game. He's not pulling the ownership, but he's 7,900 on FanDuel, 8,400 on DraftKings. In games where we're not playing Gordon Hayward or Jalen McDaniels, where all of the other guys for Charlotte are available. Bridges actually sees a really big usage bump. I've got him in for 25% usage in this one. He's an efficient scorer, roughly a 60% true shooting, not a ton in the way of assists and rebounds, but he does a little bit of everything. So I prefer getting to Bridges over everyone, given the current ownership. I think that LaMelo and Terry Rozier and Cody Martin are all like 10% guys. Kelly Oubre's price on DraftKings is probably better than the three guys that I just mentioned. Like LaMelo's $700 more expensive on DraftKings than FanDuel. Terry Rozier's $500 more expensive on DraftKings than FanDuel. Cody Martin's $300 more expensive on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel. But Oubre's $700 cheaper. So if I'm trying to mix and match here, if I'm playing across both sites, I'd be prioritizing a little bit more Kelly Oubre on DK. Hasn't played in a couple games. Coming off of a monster, he had like 20 plus points in the fourth quarter, I think. 23% usage. Not sure that he goes back to that, but 28 minutes of Kelly Oubre looks pretty good. Shooting guard, small forward, the best designation you can get on DK.
I think the thing with LaMelo too is we all know he has a high ceiling, but just for a guy at his price point, his floor is modest at best, right? Like he does finish with a lot of games that are in that mid 30, low 40 point range. And on a 9-game slate like tonight, that's just not going to cut it. And the matchup's not that great. Like I know it's sketchy, but I'd rather just pay down 1,500 or whatever it is to Karis LeVert. And, you know, the Karis LeVert gives me a 50+ game, which I think is very much in play against the bad Orlando team.
Yeah, I mean, with the way that this slate is shaping up right now, I mean, you're looking for 65 out of LaMelo on DraftKings to feel like this guy is going to be in optimal lineups across the board. You know, you get to 60, you're happy. That's a pretty healthy amount of fantasy points.
Yeah. Especially for a guy that, you know, frequently comes in well under that range. So
yeah,
I don't know. What do we have his boom probability? I'm just curious what his,
I mean, I have mine, but I use different rates than 5x plus 10.
6. Yeah. I mean, we do have him with a 10% optimal lineup chance, which gives him positive leverage in our boom bust tool. But yeah, I don't know. It feels kind of difficult, especially on DraftKings, to get there. What about with Boston? Do you want to get to Tatum or to Jaylen Brown or any of these top guys?
I was hoping that Charlotte would unearth something from Boston that I didn't normally see, just because they play quickly and they don't have a great defense. But these prices for Boston are just sort of stabilized. So, you know, if you get shares of Tatum or Brown, I think that's fine. They're, you know, 5 to 10%ers today. I like the $9,800 price for Tatum on FanDuel. $8,700 for Brown on DraftKings seems okay, given his shooting guard, small forward eligibility. To me, the best option you're going to find here is Robert Williams. On FanDuel, he gets the power forward eligibility. That's preposterous, but I'll take it. On DraftKings, he doesn't have it, but I think he's worth the $7,200 price tag, especially if he's only 1% owned, which is what we have right now. I love the idea of going to him in a GPP. He's been like a 1.1 to 1.15 fantasy point per minute guy over the past 30 days. Whatever hiccups he had at the beginning of the season playing alongside Al Horford seem to have gone away now. He doesn't miss when he shoots. 72% true shooting. Basically everything's a lob dunk, so it shouldn't be too surprising. Right. It's not like he's stepping it out to 3, but if I'm going anywhere here, I think Robert Williams is the priority.
Okay. Who would you say your top options from this game are? FanDuel, DraftKings.
Robert Williams across both sites for sure. And then Miles Bridges across both sites from the Charlotte side. They would be my two biggest priorities.
Okay. Hey, by the way, shout out to No House Advantage, sponsor of the Awesemo Strategy Show. $25 deposit bonus when you sign up using the promo code Awesemo. Solid stuff right there. 100% peer-to-peer player prop platform where you're taking player props, putting them into a lineup. The ones you like the most go at the top. They get the most points. The ones you're least confident in go at the bottom. So essentially you're building lineups with player props, just taking the over or the under, putting into a lineup without any salary cap restraints, without any of that other stuff. And you can use any of the research or the knowledge that you've used for DraftKings, FanDuel, whatever, any other traditional DFS site, and apply it to this. You can use Odd Shopper, which is entirely free, to get comfortable with this and find the right bets. Use our expected win rate. Use our player prop tool, which is also free over at Awesemo. And well, we have the No House Advantage projections at Awesemo for free. Always going to be free. Optimal lineup tool. Give you an edge there without having to pay anything additional for that, which you're not going to get anywhere else. Mass entry capability, huge prize pools. And like I said, $25 deposit bonus when you sign up and deposit using the promo code Awesemo. They got over 500 props offered, a really solid menu of props. Check it out. NoHouseAdvantage.com. You can download it in the App Store, Google Play Store, wherever it is. And as we always say, Ben Ross's patented saying on this, the props are static. Unlike other places, they come out, you hit them early, you're going to get a significant edge. And you might think that everyone else is doing that, but I promise you, they're not. A lot of people are missing that. And it doesn't matter. You're playing against the house, so who cares? Just pick the right ones. All right, let's go to Memphis and New York Knicks. Ja Morant, Josh. This dude, honestly, watching Ja play, we can argue where he's at in terms of like actual impact on the game and the team, but he's clearly one of the most exciting players to watch play basketball right now.
He is exceptional. It's really fun to see. It's just entertaining. Loves being out there. I think everybody loves playing with him. While, he's obviously taking a ton of shots. It's a 32% usage guy, but he also has a 35% assist rate. I think, and his assists are spectacular. We're talking about like 360 alley-oop dunks to people.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I think everybody's having a blast being out there.
Every time he drives to the rack, it's something you haven't seen before.
I know it's fun to watch. Unfortunately for Memphis today, I find them to be completely uninteresting. Highest owned guy in the game is Morant on FanDuel at 5%. I had Bane come out of my sim on FanDuel at 7%. As far as I'm concerned, the most likely scenario for me is that I really wouldn't have any reasonable amount of Grizzlies. If you get to if you're a single entry player and you want to play Ja Morant, it's not something I would talk you out of. You probably can be pretty chalky elsewhere because there is no ownership here. A matchup against the Knicks is generally dreadful. In my pace metric, they are dead last in the league. That is generally going to make a team look pretty bad. This is about as big of a pace down spot as Memphis can find.
So Memphis across the board, pretty unappealing, not just Ja?
Across the board, I don't really have much interest.
What about on the other side with the Knicks?
It's possible that I have less interest in the Knicks than I do in Memphis. Look, Randall's role basically doesn't change. He's going to play around 36 minutes, 25% usage, 26% assist rate, 14% rebound rate. He's 5 to 10% owned pretty much every slate. On FanDuel, you get power forward center. He's 8,300. There's something there. RJ Barrett's minutes seem to be second most solid. But again, no one in this game is 10% or higher in ownership on either site. Randall and Barrett are the only guys that I could really advocate for. If you think that which one of Kemba, Grimes, Burks, or Quickly is going to be the guy that plays 28 minutes and makes the shots, that guy's probably a decent play today. I don't know how you sift through the rest of this Knicks trash.
All right. Succinct.
I really don't.
No, look, we don't, like I said, there's no point of touching on certain spots if we don't need to, especially given that, Josh, you've got spots today, with Garland out, if we want to talk about Cleveland here. Yeah. Cedi Osman, don't look at the final totals. Look at the opportunities in that game. Really absurd. Okay. He had 16 potential assists. He played 38 minutes. He shot like dog shit. I think he shot 3 for 16 or something. But if he's going to come out there and you're getting point Cedi in a game like that, Rondo clearly, I thought it was possible that Rondo could start that game. Was not the case, right? So now you've got Cedi coming out and just getting every opportunity you could think of. I have, and obviously he's going to be popular today, but if he starts again at the point, I have to operate under the assumption, and he had 85 touches last game, which led the team by 30. I have to operate under the assumption that Cedi is once again going to have a ton of opportunity to produce at a sub 5K price point.
Yeah, he's 50% owned right now in our ownership projections. I think that probably comes down a little bit, but to me, he's as easy of a chalk play as you're going to find, assuming that he is in the starting lineup. Shooting guard, small forward on DK, 4,600. I got him in for 33 minutes. You could even give him more there. Now, I'm not necessarily sure that he does start or should start. Their offense was putrid against the Pelicans with Cedi Osman running the point. They have no creation whatsoever. So I wouldn't be surprised if they went to Rondo or they went to a little bit more Brandon Goodwin.
I agree with that.
Either direction, I think, is fine. I don't necessarily want to go to Chetty because I think it's going to ruin it. So it wouldn't surprise me if people spend most of this day thinking that Chetty Osman is going to start. And at 7:30, we get a lineup of Rondo, Okoro, Wade, Allen, Mobley, or Goodwin, Okoro, Wade, Allen, Mobley, something in that area. And people are going to freak out. At which point, even Chetty Osman in 24 minutes off the bench is still a good value play. He's just not a 50% owned guy.
Totally agree. Now, and that game was midway through the third quarter, and neither team had reached 60, I think. I mean, it's
bad.
It was ugly. Bad. But if he does start again, I have to assume that he's going to play decent minutes, right? Unless
he'll be one of the 3 most popular guys on every site today, bar none, no matter what news comes out today if he starts.
But he should be, though, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay,
no disagreement whatsoever. Yeah. No.
He shot 3 for 16. And look, he is not I'm not saying he's a sharpshooter, but he's not horrible. He's like 35% from 3, 42% from the field. What's his true shooting?
I have him in as my baseline rate of 53%. So around just under league average.
Right. So around league average, if you're getting 38 minutes or even 35 minutes there, it's hard to get away from it is the thing.
Yeah. No, he's a fantastic play. Right now I have him in 33 minutes. He's 3rd for me on FanDuel, 4th for me on DraftKings, and 4th for me on Yahoo. He's one of my top 5 plays across every single site we cover.
I am with you, though. It seemed like an odd decision from the jump to start him at the point. But.
Yeah, I don't get it. He's not that kind of guy, and this offense is going to grind to a halt. I think they need to go to Goodwin or Rondo a little bit more. And if they do, whoever starts at point guard today is a really, really good DFS play.
Exactly. Man, how many times, man, has Brandon Goodwin with the Hawks started and just been horrible, but it doesn't matter if he starts or if Rondo starts, you just have to bite the bullet there.
You do. And you got to play more than that from Cleveland too here against Houston. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about a Houston team that is the fastest team in the league. Their defense is pathetic with Christian Wood at center. It's not going to be any better with Şengün there either. So I really love Mobley and Allen. Mobley's pulling 29% ownership on FanDuel, 6,900 power forward center. Totally reasonable. I like him on DraftKings as well. I feel the same way about Jared Allen across both sites. There's a lot to like here for Cleveland. Okoro's fine. Dean Wade's fine. Kevin Love saw a ton of extra time. I think they just went to him a little bit more this last time out because 1, the Pelicans decided to play Jackson Hayes at the 4, and 2, I think that they just needed a little bit more offensive oomph to be out there. I don't know if we see that again. He's already 7K. Makes it a bit of a tough sell, but whoever that final starter is for Cleveland, you want to go there a lot. Right now, it looks like it's going to be Chetty.
So Houston plays the fastest pace in the league. They have the worst defensive rating in basketball. You're right. There's just a lot you can do here. How would you say top 3 options on this team, assuming Chetty starts?
Chetty Osman, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen.
Okay. We have Brandon Goodwin projected for some ownership as well, even though we don't know what this is going to look like. We'll figure it out. But he did play 28 minutes last game.
He played
27 minutes.
27 minutes. I gave him 20 for this one. I don't think that he necessarily falls into 27. I certainly don't think that Evan Mobley only plays 23. I believe he was in some foul trouble on Monday.
I have some real reservations there too, because 21 points out of Brandon Goodwin on 8 for 11 shooting, no peripherals. I know it's only one game, but Brandon Goodwin's the type of guy that I know he's cheap, but if you're playing Brandon Goodwin, you're really hoping to get more than 22 minutes from him. And like you're saying, you're not sure that's going to happen. That's a sketchy spot for sure.
It's hard to want to go to too much Goodwin or Rondo if they're both coming off the bench. Yeah. We don't even know which one's going to be the first one to be in the game.
Exactly. But this could change a lot, especially if we get news close to lock and everyone gets thrown into a tizzy. Problem is, this is an 8 p.m. game.
You're not going to have this news.
You're not going to have it. No. I mean, you might, but I don't think you will. And if you don't, do you have any ways to account for this? Like, Other than throwing Chetty in that flex spot or the utility or one of the, there's not much you can do.
But no, I mean, Cleveland's the 5th game on the slate. There's 4 more games after it. You're just going to be able to move stuff around if you need to.
There's no doubt. All right. Houston. How about this Houston Rockets team today? Anything of relative value?
It's tough. Highest owned guy is Jayshawn Tate at 8.7% on DraftKings. I did have Tate hit my sim at 10%. So I think Tate looks properly owned on DK. If you want to go to $8,500 Christian Wood on FanDuel, coming off a big game, he's got power forward center eligibility. I think that's fine. I get to Kevin Porter Jr. probably too frequently. Point guard, small forward, 6,200 on FanDuel. He's just sort of easy to get to. It didn't help that he just talked a ton of shit to Steph Curry on Monday. Ultimately, I didn't have a lot of Steph. Steph then had a monster 4th quarter. So thanks a lot for that one, old KPJ. Crazy person. KPJ and Wood are the only guys I'm really interested in. Tate just seems properly owned.
If you looked at Steph early in that game, you're like, here we go. Another game where he just takes a backseat role and kind of hangs out. And I checked it. I think I fell asleep and I got up in the morning and I saw he finished with 41.
Yeah, I kind of did the same thing, only I was fading Steph at the time and was just like, oh, this is going the exact way that I wanted it to go.
It's Loughy. It's not Laffy. I mean, I'm happy to answer your question. I usually don't even address this, but 2 of them in like a 1 minute span. You know, come on. And then the nickname Loughy doesn't even make any sense because my last name's pronounced Loughran.
Yeah. Should we just be calling you Loughy?
No, because it originated from everyone mispronouncing my name as Loughran, right? So then they just went with
mistyping it too, evidently. Yeah, we should go with Loughy from now on. I'm just going to make this change myself.
We can't do that.
It's too late.
Had this
cat's out of the bag. Toothpaste.
So Live Healthy says Laffy playing any Maxi tonight? No, not.
I am.
Are you?
Yeah, but as the people
not on
that generally
watch, there's no way you're playing Maxi on DraftKings.
Sure. He's fine. Came out of my sim at 10%, higher than anybody else for Philly.
That seems preposterous to me at 7,500 with Joel Embiid back.
He plays so many minutes.
I know, dude, but you got 9 games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm going to have like 44% Tyrese
you're
Maxey
sprinkling
tonight,
him
but
in a little bit. I got
he's
you.
1% owned.
Yeah, that's well, okay. You want to get over the field on 1%, sure.
Yeah, like I think I'd have like 10 to 15% here.
Ooh, okay. Do you think Maxey's a good player?
He's fine. He's like, I think he's got a pretty bright future given what we're seeing in year number 2.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you've changed your tune on Maxey.
Well, it's not that I've changed my tune,
You
but
told
like
me he stunk last year when I bought his Top Shot and I was like, this thing could be decent.
Well, yeah, that's also worthless too. I need to sell my Bones Highland before all the other people realize that he's also worthless too.
Wait, who's worthless?
I have a Bones Highland that has like a value of $300 or something. I need to sell that shit immediately because he's going to amount to precisely nothing.
Maxey's not worth it. I bought it at the bottom, baby.
Yeah, and it'll stay at the bottom.
Why?
His ceiling is like the poor man's CJ McCollum.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right.
Which, like, nobody's going out of their way to buy anything from CJ McCollum.
You're probably right.
I'd rather buy a wine from CJ McCollum than any of his memorabilia.
But you're missing. But this is what you're missing. When it comes to Top Shot, the way so many people evaluate this is they'll see Maxey go off and they'll just like assume that Maxey has superstardom in his future when really we know where his ceiling is. That's when you sell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's
why I want to sell Bones Highland now because that's only going to go down.
Exactly. This is not like
that right. I'm going to list that right now while we're talking.
What's that?
I'm going to list that right now while we're talking.
It'll only take 25 minutes.
I don't even know how to list any. It's been a while since I've had to sell anything. Ever since I got that pristine Michael Mulder for $1,000. Bunch of morons were willing to spend $1,000 on Michael Mulder.
That's crazy.
Top Shots.
No, and Gabriel, no offense taken, man. I don't take it personally. It doesn't bother me. I just thought it was funny that it happened twice in a row. Why don't I hold the handle of my mug? I don't know. I feel more
Bones
like,
is already down to $185.
I feel more like a man when I hold it like this, you know?
Yeah. At least you finally get to feel like that.
I miss these shows.
Me too.
All right. What else do we have? I think, did we cover Houston?
We did. They're not all that interesting.
No, they're not. OKC and Dallas. We don't do the Hall of Fame on this show, right? It's usually not updated by now, right?
Even if it is, I don't.
Okay, that's good to know.
Well, like we got to fit it into an hour. We normally have a hard out at 11 o'clock.
It is tough. We do have free content today. What's that? Okay. I mean, we still got a ways to go, right? We got 4 games and we're bound to get off track at some point. Bro, did you see Ben go on his rant? Did you see my tweet? Ben's rant about why he hates space exploration? Yes. Oh, it was so good, man.
No. Can you give me the Cliff Notes?
Basically, he's like, why the fuck? Well, he didn't say that, but he's like, please. He's like, one more thing, and then we can go back to what we were talking about. Why do we spend a small nation's GDP on discovering a planet that may be able to house human life when it's 7 billion light years away? Like, we're never going to get there. Why don't we explore the ocean? We don't know what's in most of the ocean. I mean, you have to watch it. It's on. I put it on Twitter. You will thoroughly enjoy it. I promise you. I
mean, for the most part, I agree. We spend money on space exploration,
right.
But we're just like, you know what? Climate change is a hoax.
He's totally right.
We're going to boil this entire planet.
But the thing is, the only people that are ever getting to one of those distant planets in another galaxy is in another solar system. It's going to be the billionaires, right? And then it's not us. We're not going anywhere.
It needs to come hand. It needs to come hand in hand with us being able to like cryogenically freeze a human being and thaw them.
Sure.
Because if you're going to be traveling that distance, you got to get knocked out so you don't waste your body for a couple of years.
Right. Like Idiocracy.
Sort of, yeah, exactly.
But we got plenty of time left, man. We're fine. We got plenty of time.
We don't.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, they're talking about like blocking out the sun. That was a fucking Mr. Burns plot on The Simpsons to try to get the heat away.
We'll be long gone. We'll be long gone. Everyone we know. Look, all I'm saying is, and I'm not making political arguments here. I'm just saying, like, by the time that we figured out a way to get to another planet and create a civilization, you and I, we're gone.
So what we have to worry about is offloading our current consciousness to something else. We don't need to leave this planet. We need to be able to enter the metaverse via our current brains, and then we can just wipe out most of the people so we stop ruining the planet. Everybody will just live in a server tower somewhere.
Oh, good. Genocide.
No, that's not what I'm saying. It's just we won't need human reproduction any longer because we will be living in the Matrix, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah, you have that.
And I'm plugging in right now. I mean, we're carrying around a computer in our stupid meat socket, whatever the fuck we want to call ourselves.
You're the guy that told me you would just watch like virtual games and you would never want to go to a stadium again. Remember we did the day.
And for the record, I am going to be proven aggressively correct in this.
It'll happen, but people are never leaving stadiums.
Oh yeah, we just had 18 months where we would have never went back.
There's 75,000 people crammed in the stadiums. Don't give a shit right now, bro.
Yeah, now. But think about like people going back into the office at this point in time. Zoom has changed everything, and now it's just going to be like accepted that that's the thing. When we have COVID-20 and the VR becomes really awesome, we're just going to be sitting courtside watching NBA Finals games, but we're just going to wear really dope VR goggles.
All right. You would like that. I know you would definitely.
Why would anyone hate it? That's the better question.
Because I like my life. I like reality, man. I've told you that. I like living in reality.
You think you live in reality. What if you're already doing this right now?
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Do you think it's possible what I'm saying right now? Do you think that's possible in the future?
Like a Ready Player One type situation?
Yeah, that we're able to.
Yeah, we're already getting
like the Matrix.
We're already getting close to that.
So you do think that's possible in the future?
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of it.
Okay. If you think it's possible in the future, why can't that actually be what's happening now?
It's possible, but like I'm also cognizant enough to see the evolution of it. I mean, maybe I'm oblivious to some of it, but you can still see a pretty rapid evolution of what's going on, right?
If you can see that happening, then there's no reason to assume that it hasn't already happened.
Yeah, I guess. But there's no reason to assume that it hasn't already happened either. Like I can make the complete reverse argument there, without stating any facts at all.
I mean, I'm right here.
But you're not.
I'm 100% right. Yeah, I'm 100% right.
Josh Giddey. What are you doing with Josh Giddey? And I'm not just stopping that because I don't have a rebuttal.
It's 10:46.
I'm stopping that because we only have 14 minutes.
Yeah, no, I get it.
We'll pick this up at some. Hey, chat, let us know what you think.
Super Bowl's in however many days. Once that's over, this comes back in full force.
Oh yeah, and what do you think? I mean, me and Ben and Jordan are talking about like Super Bowl preview 2 weeks out. What did you expect was going to happen? That we weren't going to go off the rails yesterday. It's par for the course.
For sure.
Giddey's expensive, Josh, even without SGA.
Depends which site you play on. Where he's 41% owned on FanDuel. It's $6K, $1,900 cheaper. Yeah. You don't play anybody from Oklahoma City on DraftKings with any sort of regularity. You play all of the Josh Giddey on FanDuel because they refuse to price him up. Dort, I think, works on FanDuel as well. $5,600 in comparison to the $6,500 price tag on DK. So cross off Oklahoma City on DraftKings, play Giddey and Dort on FanDuel. In particular, Giddey, who is my number 1 on FanDuel, 2, tied for the top spot on FanDuel.
Okay. Yeah, of course we're going to go off the rails. Someone said DFS guys turned intellects. No, I'm not an intellectual. Would never want to be.
Yeah, a lot of intellectual discussions about how we're in a simulation. Yeah, that's what I got out of college. Intellect like that.
Dude, remind
I'm
me
a pothead.
Remind me to tell you the rabbit hole that I've gone down recently. Oh, it's crazy.
Is it about rabbits?
No, it's about like how there may have been another just like highly developed civilization in America that was essentially wiped out to prevent us from knowing things. Go look up the world's fairs and what the crazy. Oh, you think this could be possible? I mean, it's crazy stuff.
Sort of
crazy stuff.
Part of me thinks that all of our history is all just made up lore. So I don't know.
It's crazy stuff. Hey, Luka Doncic, I did want to ask you about this just as far as like the high priced players go. Luka right now pulling more ownership than any of the top tier players. Do you agree with that? Because we have a lot of top tier players today.
I really do, actually. This is a very different Luka spot than it normally is. If I'm paying up today, I think Luka is your best pay up option. Given his price, I think Anthony Davis might be the best because he's just cheaper and a pay up option. But for Luka, we run into these situations where we talk, well, at least on our shows, I don't know what other garbage DFS shows are talking about, but when Kristaps Porzingis isn't in, we don't really see a change to the rates for Luka Doncic. Nothing really changes all that much. It's a little bit different when Tim Hardaway is also out. Now we actually do see Luka Doncic get a usage bump. So I've got him right around 40% usage for today, 47% assist rate, plus a 16% rebounding rate. I have Luka in today on FanDuel, 1.66 FanDuel points per minute. Very different rate than his normal rates. Obviously, taking on Oklahoma City helps. On DraftKings, I have him at, let's see, 64.5, 1.8 DraftKings points per minute today. He is my preferred pay up option. I completely agree with the ownership, but you also need to get to Jalen Brunson, who's underpriced today now with no Porzingis, no Tim Hardaway. Dorian Finney-Smith looks like an excellent value in the 4s. We're getting Kleber and Powell and Josh Green and Marquise Chris getting a little bit of love on DK from an ownership perspective. A lot of value to be found on Dallas and a lot of top end stuff. Luka looks incredible.
Good stuff. And we got free content on the site today, too, for anybody interested. NBA player rankings, entirely free. PGA rankings, you got locked tomorrow morning. NHL top stacks as well. And if you want to join us, you want to actually get access to all the tools we talk about, ownership, boom bust tool, the top stack tool, lineup builder, everything, right? Including the Fantasy Cruncher add-on if you're looking for that. But all of our tools built by Awesemo himself. And as you'll see in all of our Hall of Fame segments and tweets and just you name it, that these tools have done a lot of people well. Not just that, but all the people that are, so many of the pros that are a part of Awesemo use these tools every single day. If you want to get an express pass for NBA, you could do that. You could do it all access, weekly, monthly, annual, literally whatever you want. Make an investment out of it. Go with every sport for the year or the month. All of our tools for every sport available on the site. If you want to do Awesemo plus Platinum, you name it. But yeah, no matter what style of player you are, what your budget is, how serious you are, we got something for anybody. So check it out, awesemo.com/join. You have questions, hit me up on Twitter. DMs are open, mistakenly, but they are open. You can hit me up there and happy to answer your questions. But yeah, awesemo.com/join. And if you do join, don't forget to hop into our premium Discord, join all the channels. It's a good community, and the premium office hours where you got the pros answering your questions and helping you better your game. Steve Buzzard, one of the best players out there, is one of the best when it comes to really helping you, fix issues with your game. And he's great at answering questions. So don't miss out on that if you do decide to join us over there. All right, Josh, Brooklyn, Sacramento, got the Kings here at home. They are 4-point dogs, 232 total. I mean, this could be a track meet.
Yeah, this one looks, well, here's the problem. It looks good, but there's not really anything you really want to play all that much of from Brooklyn. I think Harden looks good. He's 20% owned, and he should be. 10-5 on FanDuel, great positions, 11-2 on DraftKings, less so. If you want to go to Kyrie Irving, he is your other legitimate option. The problem is you can't really trust Brooklyn's rotation. I expected Day'Ron Sharpe to get some time with no LaMarcus Aldridge. Claxton's minutes didn't move. They just went to 26 minutes of Blake Griffin. Now, this is a back-to-back. I wouldn't be surprised if Day'Ron Sharpe gets those minutes now instead of Blake. I wouldn't be surprised if James Johnson got those minutes today instead of Blake. They can give Cam Thomas more and Bembry less and Bruce Brown more. And I don't know what to do with the rest of this team. Kessler Edwards is 3,900 on FanDuel if you need a pay down small forward option, but just stick to Harden and to a lesser extent, Irving.
What about on the other side with Richaun Holmes? Some foul trouble in recent performances, but really not a bad matchup here at all. He's another one of those guys that just makes most of the shots he takes because, essentially everything is coming around the basket. I wish we were locked into more consistent minutes here, but we've seen him against like Philadelphia in regulation game. That wasn't an overtime game. Get to 31 minutes. If we can get up to like 29 to 31 minutes from Holmes at his price point, is he viable for you tonight?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Very clearly the top play in this entire game, assuming De'Aaron Fox is in. He's 5K on DraftKings. He's 11% owned. I actually like him more than that at 28 minutes. He's around a 1.1 fantasy point per minute guy against Brooklyn here. He's got power forward eligibility on FanDuel, slightly more expensive, but that eligibility really helps. If Fox is in, I think like Halliburton and Barnes and Fox are all sort of 10%ers just because the matchup is good. The pace is good. The prices are fine. But to me, there aren't any real priorities here. And I can't even say that Holmes is a priority. He just looks like a really good center. There just happens to be 50 of those every day anymore.
Do you have anything else from Sacramento? It's such a high total game. It's a shame that we have to waste it.
Yeah, Fox would need to be out, at which point like $7,600 Halliburton on FanDuel starts to stand out. Barnes looks a bit better across both sites. Davion Mitchell probably falls into 30 minutes, 4,900 on DK because Terrence Davis had surgery on his hand or wrist, so he's out a while, and we have no Bagley in this one either.
All right, 2 to go. Making decent time here. We're not really up against it, but I think we have to set like some type of limitations on ourselves, even if they're not real, because we'll just go.
We don't have too much that we need to talk about for the rest of this, so it shouldn't be too bad.
We're good. We just need some artificial restrictions in place. Otherwise, it gets out of control. But
yeah,
anyway,
we got to let Chris know to just schedule a show at like 11:15.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Even if it never happens, just
lie to us.
Like we're in the Matrix, Josh.
Yeah, like we're in the Matrix.
Denver, Nikola Jokic. It's been really fun watching him and Embiid not battle head to head, but just battle like MVP. They're 1 and 2 big men for the MVP, or 1 and 2. Last year they were as well. Jokic and Embiid are such different players, but they produce in such different ways, but they're so fun. And Jokic from a DFS, from a fantasy standpoint, every night he's on the slate, you just have to at least consider him. Now, In this one, you've got him going up against Utah, but there's still no Rudy Gobert here. And Hassan Whiteside is a far cry defensively from Rudy Gobert. And I love the people that are like, yeah, but he's a great shot blocker. That doesn't mean shit.
No.
And he might not even play today either.
Yeah, Jokic looks exceptional here if he plays. Now, he was questionable heading into yesterday's game. This is the second half of a back-to-back. Keep your eyes on it, I guess. I assume he plays because he's just that type of guy. He doesn't tend to sit out all that frequently. I think he looks exceptional here. He's like 20% owned across both sites. He's really the only guy that you should be prioritizing to get to from the Denver Nuggets. If we're talking about where he ranks relative to everybody else, he's behind AD for me. He's behind Luka for me. If you have enough money to play a Nikola Jokic lineup on DraftKings at 12-6, by all means. It's just kind of pricey. On FanDuel, I like him a little bit more just because you only get to play one center. Otherwise, I don't need anything from Denver, but we're talking like 33% usage, a 46% assist rate, and a 21% rebounding rate. Back in the day when I was just like, he's the best offensive center in basketball, and we would have that discussion, I guess I was shorting myself there. I should have just said the best offensive player in basketball. And let's be clear here, and I don't think this is even controversial anymore. That is absolutely what he is.
You mean like all encompassing, like a passer and a scorer?
I mean, he's got a 99th percentile assist rate as the center. He is got a 67% true shooting rate on 31% usage. He's a 99th percentile rebounder, an 84th percentile offensive rebounder. He's shooting 38% from three. I mean, he literally couldn't do anything else offensively to improve that. He's the best at basically everything, and he's a center.
He's a remarkable player.
He's the point guard of the team and the center of the team at the exact same time, and they don't seem to be skipping a beat. They are amazing when he's on the floor.
So everyone's saying Durant went healthy. Josh didn't say the best scorer. He's saying the best offensive player. And I think you have to really make a distinction there. Jokic is by far not the best scorer in the league.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Embiid is a better scorer than Jokic, hands down. But he is, dude. He is. There's no doubt. He is.
They go about it in different ways. I think that's the same to me.
Like, I'll give you Jokic better offensive player because he's an amazing passer. But yeah, as a scorer, you're taking Embiid. I am. I'm taking Durant, obviously.
And like, if we're talking about as an offensive player, I'm taking Durant before I take Jokic in a playoff setting.
Oh, yeah.
Because individual shot creation becomes a little bit more important in the playoffs.
Durant's skill set in the playoffs is unmatched. It's unparalleled. Like that. Yeah. No doubt about it.
Yeah. That, to me, that's a different discussion point because we're changing the way that basketball is played at that point. But in terms of like analyzing the regular season, there's literally like Jokic is leading the league in every relevant category offensively, including statistical categories that people of his ilk are not like Chris Paul's got a 42% assist rate. Jokic's is 39. Just like wrapping my head around something like that is really difficult to do. We're not like weighting this against other centers. This is just raw data.
It is remarkable. No, and it keeps getting better too. So I've been enjoying it. Look, we're in a time right now where we've got so many special players that are all unique. So I'm all about, like, that's why I was saying Morant earlier. John Morant is unique. Like in terms of watching him play, incredibly fun. Same with Jokic. I mean, he's like, he lost some weight, obviously, coming back during, I think it was the bubble, right? Obviously, he's still kind of a lumbering big man that if you looked at him out there and didn't know who he was, right? You know, if you just took off your VR headset, Josh, after living in the metaverse for 2 years and saw Jokic, you'd be like, this guy's not good at basketball. And then it turns out he's really good.
Yeah. I mean, the skills that he has, the things that he can do, his passing is on a completely different planet and is unguardable because you can't, like, he sees over everything.
Can we put a bow on this metaverse thing real quick? I just have a question for you as far as like VR goes. Okay.
Go for it. Let's go.
Bear with me, everybody. I'm
11 o'clock. We got this.
We're good. I'm sure. Well, we don't have anywhere to go. I'm sure I do, but I'm sure you're all as interested in this as I am. When it comes to this VR, right? Like, and how do you imagine this happening? Like, do do you still take it off to lay down and go to sleep at night? Do you no longer have sex? Do you just bang it out in the metaverse? Do you pump off to a fake girl and feel like how does this work? Like, are you so, and sorry if that offends any, I'm not, because it's a real question.
Girl or guy, man, what are you doing?
What's up?
Why does it got to be a girl that you pump off to?
Whatever you want. I don't care what your preferences are. I'm saying, if you, how far do we go? How far does this go?
It goes the whole way, man. The whole way. Everything you're saying happens.
So you're just a vegetable with a headset on all day?
No, eventually there's just no headset and you're plugged in, more Matrix style, or, floating in some sort of ooze tub that you never get out of. Yeah. At some point, the transition is headset. You end up like that Black Mirror episode where you just end up like caught on the couch, but you only put like a dot on the side of your head to like access everything.
Well, I remember the other one where they'd go into that fighting scene as well.
Yeah. Well, if I'm fighting if I know Kung Fu, like that's cool.
Well, no, they actually wouldn't fight. You don't remember that?
No, my memory's terrible, man. I smoke my memories away.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be like a fight, right? And then they'd come out to each other, and instead of fighting, they'd just start banging. Yeah, it was odd. It was two guys, but then one guy was playing as a female character.
Oh, I do remember that.
Remember that? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, they were like friends, right?
Yeah, and he was like cheating on his wife. I mean, let's be honest. That's cheating. That's 100% cheating. You can't, Josh. Don't. And listen, I'm the furthest thing from someone. I'm not saying I don't support you. What I'm saying is, like, I'm the furthest person from someone that's like, oh my God, I can't believe he did. That is 100%. Like, once you're in there, you're in it.
I don't know. I mean, like, how does I don't know. It's a gray area. Okay.
So if your wife has gone into the metaverse or to VR, like with someone she knows who's on a headset and doing that, you're like, no problem, hon. It was in the metaverse.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so full of shit, man.
Yeah. I assume I'm getting the same sort of abilities that I get to go in and like Rachel McAdams is just waiting for me. Yeah. Sorry, honey. I cheated.
No, but like, no, this would be someone you actually know. That's how it was. And you're both going in there and you're doing your thing. That's different. This isn't like a fake Rachel McAdams.
Am I me in there or am I an avatar of me?
No, my wife's not even home. APKS. It doesn't matter okay. So you're saying as long as you guys play avatars, you're good.
I think that's an important distinction.
I want to know what Katie has to say on this so badly. Like,
she's probably going to just call me a moron from the jump for this entire discussion.
Right. She might not even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, she's out long before we even get to, is it cheating to have sex with someone else in a VR metaverse? She's going to be like, none of this is happening. Shut up. You're stupid.
If you guys haven't seen the Black Mirror, you'll know what I'm talking about. You have to see the episode though. That's a fine line though, Josh.
Maybe we should all just be more open in life. And the metaverse will be the thing that does that.
Yeah.
I hate having to say metaverse now because that used to be like a pretty good catch-all terminology for like what we're talking about. And now that it's not the same thing. Dude,
the real metaverse, like with some of these, it sucks, man. Like people can say what they want, but like you go in VR or play a legitimate, amazing video game on a PS5.
Yeah, but like, we also loved Nintendo when it came out.
Right.
And then it became a PS5.
Because PS5 didn't exist, bro.
Right. Well, we don't know what the PS5 of VR is going to be, but holy shit, it's going to be awesome, right?
Right. I'm saying like metaverse, like Decentraland and stuff.
Yeah. It's all garbage now.
Stinks. It's going to get there. But the incentive right now to be involved with that, outside of like buying up proper, I can't believe I'm saying this, but
imagine being able to show somebody a video of Red Dead at the same time they're playing Pong.
That's what I mean.
I mean, you're just going to twitch out and not be able to continue. It's not going to make any sense. It's going to be like Westworld. You're going to be like, I don't even see anything there.
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
All right. Ready? Of course, we did it right before the last game.
Actually, we didn't even touch on Utah.
Oh, you're right. My fault. Utah Jazz got off track there. Hit that thumbs up too. Let's get to 200. We got 600 people watching.
Yeah, hey, we're still growing. Just FYI, so keep an eye on that one.
Utah, we dropped some after that last conversation. I was following.
We'll see. Utah's a problem today. So no Donovan Mitchell, no Rudy Gobert, potentially no Hassan Whiteside. But if Hassan Whiteside's in, 30 minutes at 6,500 on FanDuel or 6,600 on DraftKings, I'm a pretty big fan of. But FanDuel is the real problem. Bojan Bogdanovic, 32% owned at 5,200. Mike Conley, 23% owned at 6K. Jordan Clarkson, 28% owned at 5,700. All these guys are $1,000-ish cheaper than they are on DK. They're all big-time priorities for me. Utah for Bojan, Conley, Clarkson, and Whiteside. These are 15 to 20%ers clear across the board. A little bit less so on DK, but I really do think Utah looks good with no Mitchell and no Gobert.
Okay. And yeah, for those of you that expected Adam today and got this, my apologies, but there's no other way.
Yeah, my bad on that one, guys. If you guys are not familiar with this show and Loughy and I are on it, it's 50-50 DFS content and who the hell knows what else.
Listen, I think you'll get used to it and you'll learn to enjoy it. Just interact and chat. We'll have some fun.
And if you don't enjoy it, we don't care.
It's so early in the morning though that there's only so much you can do, right?
Somebody's going to be driving in their car on their lunch break listening to this like, what in the world are these idiots doing? And to you guys, I say hello.
Yeah, it's actually a tamer than I anticipated. Portland, Josh, let's wrap this one up. Portland and the Lakers, we're not getting LeBron tonight.
No.
There were so many people telling me when he tweeted that angry emoji face, and I was like, oh, that doesn't seem great. And they go, it's just because of tonight. I know LeBron. I know this guy. It's just tonight. What are you talking about? Meanwhile, he's missed.
Do you mind telling me why all of these people that were yelling about LeBron are all Italians?
Was that an Italian accent?
Hey, what are you talking about?
Hey, it's won the game.
You had a meatball.
No, it's just like we know how to decode cryptic messages that are, two emoji faces from LeBron. It's insane. I said, I don't know, but it does seem like he's a little too upset to miss one game. And now you don't know what you're going to get out of LeBron going forward. All I'm saying, Josh, is that we know we can be pretty confident that he's not going to play tonight. That's all I'm saying.
Correct. And while it doesn't really matter all that much on the Portland side, here are the optimal odds I got for the Portland starters on FanDuel. 11, 10, 12, 14, 12. They all look really good. You're just casting a wide net. You don't really play anything from the Portland bench. I basically feel the same way on DraftKings. I think Anthony Simons is your best option in this game if you're trying to go to anybody from Portland. But just play the Portland starters. They all play 30 plus minutes, somewhere up of 36, 37 for like the McCollum, Powell, Simons trio. I just want to get to Portland because the Lakers play fast. There's no LeBron James. The Lakers defense isn't particularly good. Like, this is a great spot for Portland.
It really is. I mean, Lakers defense is not getting Anthony Davis back at the 5 does definitely help them.
100%.
But they're still hamstrung by some of these other positions for sure. So who are your top options for Portland then, if you were to break them down real quick? On
FanDuel, it's literally all 5 guys are the same. I can't make a distinction. Ownership will dictate who you get more and less of in a contest. On DraftKings, Simons is 1 for me. Norm Powell is 2. Technically, Yusuf Nurkic is 3, but being just center eligible, that counts as like half.
Okay.
McCollum and Covington both totally fine. Just no issues.
What about Russ on the other side of this one? And again, LeBron James doubtful. The guy, unless he gets upgraded throughout the day to questionable, he's not playing. So Russ is 8,500 on FanDuel. When LeBron James is not on the floor and Anthony Davis is available for the game, Russ, 31% usage rate, 40% assist rate, and a 14% rebounding rate. I think he looks great today.
He's a 20% or more on FanDuel. He's at least 10% owned on DraftKings, and I agree with it. AD, even at 10-2 on DK at center, stands out to me. 5% owned is a joke. You should be getting more there. He's 20% owned on FanDuel, where he's 9,600 and has power forward eligibility. Another guy that gets a bump with LeBron gone, 30% usage, 15% assist rate, 15% rebounding rate. I love AD today on FanDuel. One of my top 2 plays today on the site.
That one was surprising to me. Portland, not a good basketball team.
No.
Already a porous defense, to say the least. I mean, Anthony Davis, though, at 10-2 on DraftKings, right? I'm with you in that FanDuel, it's way better. But let me just ask you, large field tournaments, he's coming in around 5%. He played 38 minutes last game. The Lakers are not a good enough team right now to just look at him and be like, okay, well, they should take care of business at all, right? They're 3.5 point home favorites, pretty decent total. I don't think AD is the craziest guy to get maybe a little over the field on at 5% at a low 10K price point if he's playing 38 minutes.
I mean, we have Jokic at 16% ownership. We've got Embiid at 8. I think Anthony Davis is pretty clearly better than both of those guys today on DraftKings.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think
the difference between AD's projection today and Embiid's projection should be all that much, and they're separated by $1,800.
I mean, Embiid's still got to be projected a decent amount higher.
I do have him higher than that, but I don't think with LeBron off, AD is a very different player.
And another thing too, like Westbrook is not playing like the same Westbrook we've seen in the past, where if it's just him and one other star player, Westbrook does, everything he can, and just. I mean, God, that attempted 3-pointer against Charlotte was brutal. And it's a shame because
I might as well have took it.
He brought them back into the game. That's what made it so upsetting. Like, I wanted to see them win that game. I wanted to see Westbrook drive to the rack where he's actually good, or, at least competent at getting to the rim. A pull-up 3 with a hand in his face. I guess, I don't know. It was, he's a bad, and you know what the problem with him is? He hit 2 threes before that. So, he was feeling it.
Oh yeah. And he felt it all right.
But yeah, the pain, he's not that same player right now.
No.
And that opens things up for Davis, man. I think you could get a monster game out of Davis. Plus, when it comes to stocks, it's not out of the question that you get like an 8-9 stock game from Davis. And now he's got 5 blocks and 4 steals with 30 points and 11 rebounds.
Yeah. And like people think that he got like too big or whatever. He's not having a bad season. He can't make like a long mid-range shot to save his life. He's still one of the biggest impact defenders in the league. He just can't seem to make like a shot from 20 feet, but everything else, I mean, he's got a 5.5% block rate. That's massive. That's 94th percentile in the league. The dude's just a monster defensively, and racking up those defensive stats make it easy, but the 30% usage rate will help too.
Yeah. But we can close with this because these comments always make me laugh when people aren't expecting it. Chad says, I was waiting for the last 3 games as I can only play the late slate tonight. And wow, that was an unexpected divergence. Yes, it was, sir. And the great thing is, this is not, I mean, I have no intention of talking about the metaverse.
No, there's no telling what's going to come up. Once we get one little prompt and that ball starts rolling, we're anywhere, man. There's no telling where we end up to close out a show.
3 likes to 100 or to 200. We got still almost 600 people watching. I say this sincerely. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us every morning as we do this and bearing with us as we, navigate the choppy waters of Loughy and Josh trying to have a conversation without getting off topic. Some of you enjoy it though. Anyway, live before lock, deeper dive coming up. You got the 30-minute post-game show, post-lock show tonight, NHL strategy show at 2. A bunch of stuff. PJ live before lock at 8. What else you got going on, Josh?
I'm done for the day. I was supposed to be done an hour and 15 minutes ago and not be on the show thanks to Adam getting the Rona. But I don't know. I got nothing else going on today. I'm going to go to the gym in an hour, pump some iron.
You still working out? You still doing it?
3 days a week, every week.
Awesome, man. Since we last talked, like months ago?
3 days a week, every week since April of last year.
Putting on some muscle?
I am.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
I like it, man. Yeah, you guys, appreciate you. Check out Josh's contenders videos. Process 6:30 Eastern time every morning, Monday through Friday. Of course, you can catch that later whenever you want. So we'll see you guys. Appreciate it as always. It is the NBA Strategy Show presented by No House Advantage. That felt good, huh, man?
It was fun, man. I miss it.
Peace.